All right, let's do this. What's it? A new studio? That's cool. Video coming soon. But first, I want to talk about something pretty important. So, just came back from NAB in Las Vegas, where I got to hang out with my creator friends, got to shoot out in the desert, which was really cool. And of course, walking the show floor, getting recognized by a few people, and of course, getting recognized by brands. And for a while, that's been like the norm now for the past few years, going to NAB. But this year, I had this realization, like, that's such a cool thing because getting recognized by brands from YouTube can lead to potential business. And as a YouTuber, as a content creator, brand deals are our bread and butter. Like, sure, there are other things like AdSense, affiliate programs, maybe even digital products, whatever. But for the vast majority of us, brand deals is where we make most of our money. And so going to events like NAB is crucial for us because this is where we build relationships with brands so that we could do business together. And I don't remember the last time I've made a video talking about all the things to help me as a YouTuber. And so I figured today in this video, 2024, if you want to become a successful YouTuber or a content creator, then listen up because there are some things that I wish I would have known back in the day, things that I would love to share with you now to help you become a YouTuber. Now, not many of you might realize this, but if you want to be a YouTuber, a content creator, you are actually starting a business. If you are working with brands and you're making videos for those brands or you're making videos to sell a product, guess what? You have a business. And one thing that I did right off the bat was to start a business entity. I used a service called LegalZoom. I'm sure you've heard of it, but there are a ton of other services out there that will help you set up a sole proprietorship, an LLC, an S Corp, whatever you want, all for a reasonable cost, but definitely worth it, especially if you don't have any knowledge setting up a business entity. There's even a service called Collective where they specifically cater towards YouTubers or content creators, where they help set up your business entity, they help with bookkeeping, all that stuff. So in terms of starting a business right now as a YouTuber, it has been so much easier than it was back in the day. And sure, you could save some money by doing it yourself, but honestly, as a content creator, like, I don't really want to think about that kind of stuff. Like, I want to set up my business right properly, and I'd rather go through a service like LegalZoom to help me do that. And so one of the first things that you got to do if you want to be a YouTuber or content creator is that you got to establish a business entity, and you can use those services to help you do that. Number two, bookkeeping. I do not want to worry about finances at all. In fact, when I think about finances, I just zone out. Like, I don't think about that. I don't want to think about that. So when I started this whole YouTube thing, I did not keep track of my finances. Like, I didn't have a proper bookkeeper. I didn't set money aside for estimated taxes. I didn't do any of that stuff because it just wasn't in my mind. But it wasn't until I did my first tax return as a YouTuber where I was like, I probably should get some help. Now, first and foremost, you should get an accountant. Like, having an accountant will help guide you, handle all your finances, and that way you don't get into legal trouble. And as a new YouTuber and content creator, like, you don't want to think about the finances. You want to think about the camera gear, all the lights, gimbals, all the stuff. All that is very tempting, but before you invest in all the fancy gear, one crucial tool that every solo creative entrepreneur should have is a solid bookkeeping/banking service to manage all your finances. Fortunately, I am partnering with Found, and I wish I discovered them a lot sooner because they would have prevented so many headaches. But basically, they are a simple banking solution kind of designed for us creative entrepreneurs that'll make handling our finances way easier. For example, if you get paid by a brand and that money goes to your Found bank account, well, automatically Found will designate a certain amount of money to estimated taxes. And when it comes time to paying your quarterly taxes or end of the year taxes, like, you can do all that within the Found dashboard. But what's really cool about Found is its integrated invoicing system. You can send invoices to contractors directly within the platform, eliminating the need for other services. Plus, managing contractors is super easy with features like instant payments, payment tracking, and auto generation of 1099 forms during tax season. That feature alone is great for many YouTubers that I know of because very often we hire freelancers to edit our videos, to help us film, and for years I had to use a separate invoicing system to send invoices to clients or to contractors, and trying to match and track those transactions to my bank account. Like, it was just such a headache. It just got a little bit too chaotic, but with Found, you could do all of that in one platform. Signing up just takes a few minutes, no need to schedule an appointment at the bank, and when you do sign up, they give you your very own debit card, which is pretty cool. Now, they're not technically sponsoring this video, but I do have a partnership with them where if you click the link below and sign up with Found, I get a little bit of commission, which helps support this channel. But honestly, since using Found this year, like, I wish I discovered them years ago. So if you're after a simple simplified banking solution with bookkeeping, invoicing, and tax features, then definitely check out Found. And you can do so by clicking the link in the description below. Right, now we're gonna change it up and do a little top-down shot because we can't talk about business without talking about sponsorships. Now, there are 4 ways in which us YouTubers do sponsored work for our videos. The first one is product exchange. Basically, you make a video in exchange for a product. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. Really depends on the product and if it brings me value as a creator. The second way is affiliate. You can agree to do a video with affiliate links down in the video description so that whenever someone clicks on that affiliate link, you can make some sort of commission off that click. The other 2 ways is where the real money happens. First one is integration. A YouTube integration is basically a mention of the product or service for about 60 to 90 seconds, and you can do so at the beginning of your video or towards the middle or even at the end. And that can go anywhere from like $2,000 to $8,000 to even more than that. And so it really depends on the agreement you have with the brand. But with a dedicated YouTube video, which is where you feature the product for most of the video, that can range anywhere from like $5,000 to even up to $30,000. Again, it really all depends on your agreement with that brand. Now, if you are just starting YouTube, you might want to start with a product exchange and work your way up. And the numbers I just threw at you are kind of arbitrary and generic, and really talking about specific numbers can be a video on its own. But this is just an overview of the type of sponsored videos that you can do on YouTube. Now, with that said, you can offer different packages as a YouTuber. The first package, I usually offer just one video, and that could be any one of those 4 types of sponsored videos that I just mentioned earlier. Package 2 is where I offer multiple videos. And I often push brands to go with package 2 because sometimes it's more beneficial to them for their product to not just be seen with one video. Like if my audience sees a video of me featuring a product 3 videos in a row, they'll just give more brand awareness for that brand. And package 3 I really love because not only do I offer multiple YouTube videos, but I also offer multiple videos on other platforms like Instagram, TikTok, RIP. Again, this could be a video on its own on the different types of packages that you can offer to brands. But as you're navigating through your YouTube journey, don't just focus on making one sponsored video at a time. You can actually negotiate and offer multiple. And with that said, you gotta have some sort of document featuring all your sponsored rates, which is called a rate sheet or a media kit. The differences between the 2 is that the rate sheet just lists all your different packages, where your media kit features your demographics, your reach, pretty much all the essential analytics, because brands will want to see what type of audience you have so that they can make sure that their product fits that demographic. So to sum up the business section of this video, make sure you set up a business entity, make sure you have a business banking account, and lastly, you want to set up your sponsorship rates to negotiate with brands. All right, so the next portion of this video is the organization of being a YouTuber and content creator. And for me, I use Notion to organize pretty much everything from ideation to scheduling and planning my videos to even project management, where I keep track whether a project has been paid or not. Now, Notion is super easy to use. In fact, a lot of my friends are currently using Notion to manage their YouTube projects. And what I love about Notion is that you can have different views for projects. For example, I have this board view where I could see all my projects in columns, and I can set up a page where it's just all about ideas. I can jot down any idea I have for a vlog, tutorial, whatever. And if I ever want to take one of those ideas into production, well, I can simply drag that idea into the next column where I'm in the planning stages. And once I'm done with that, I can take that into the production stages. And once I'm done with that, I can take it to the editing phase and then the posting stage, etc., etc. Same thing if I'm trying to keep up of payments from brands. Like I could take it from the approval process to the invoice process to the pending payment process. It's just a really cool way to manage anything and everything, especially if you're a solo entrepreneur. And if you don't really want to use a digital tool like Notion to do all that stuff, not to worry. All you really need is just a pen and paper. Sometimes a pen and paper is really all you need to create content and to manage pretty much anything in your life. This is a simple to-do list I got from Target, and just something about crossing off a task that just makes you feel really accomplished. You know, like there's some sort of chemical thing that happens there, like you cross something off, endorphins hit and fire, and the more things you cross off, the more you do like, yeah! Basically, the whole point of this is that you wanna write things down. You wanna write down your projects, whether it's physically on a paper or digitally in a calendar or whatever. Just find some way to write down your projects with all those details, because you can't keep track of all that stuff in your head. Like if you are watching this, you are a creative person. Creative people forget things all the time. And so to help us succeed, you're just gonna have to write things down, whether physically or digitally. All right, just looking at my notes. See, I'm writing notes right now to help me keep track of things I have to say in this video. Canva. So Canva is the last thing I want to talk about in this section of the video, because Canva is probably the greatest graphic design tool for content creators. I am sure you've heard of Canva, but basically Canva is a platform where you can design YouTube thumbnails or Instagram stories, presentations, and pretty much anything. I use Canva all the time, especially if I'm too lazy to make a YouTube thumbnail in Photoshop, or I'm like stuck on ideas of what to create for an Instagram story. Canva has a ton of templates that you can use and makes it really easy to design whatever you want. Like, I love Photoshop. I've been using Photoshop for years, but sometimes, if not all the time, Photoshop can just and so to make my life easier, I use Canva for pretty much all my graphic design needs. Personally, I signed up to the Pro version because I want all the features that Canva has to offer. You definitely don't have to, but for me, I like saving time and preventing headaches. All right, finally, let's talk about the content creation side of YouTube. I'm not gonna talk about getting a specific camera or this or that, whatever, because if you're just starting out, chances are you've got no money. And in that case, the only thing that you can use is your phone. If you do not have a proper mirrorless camera, if you don't have a mic, if you don't have lights or whatever, all you have is a phone, then start creating content on your phone. Honestly, like since the release of the iPhone 15, like I have been using my phone very often in times where I forgot to bring my other cameras, or if I need to grab B-roll, or if someone else is helping me film and they're not very knowledgeable in how to handle a camera. But because the iPhone is so good at creating solid looking videos in 4K in slow motion with solid stabilization, like I can just give my phone to that inexperienced person and I know that I'm gonna get decent results. And so if anything else, if you don't have a mirrorless camera, you don't have a big old production camera, just use your phone. Now, gear aside, what should you do as you film content? Like, how do I begin? Do I write a script? Do I have talking points? Like, what do I do to actually create the thing? Well, it's gonna be different for everybody. I know people that love using scripts and they go exactly word for word, line by line. I can't do that. For me, I just like writing talking points like right over here, and I just kind of riff off that. For me, whenever I'm making a product review video, I usually go off three main things: the what, the why, and the how. I talk about what the product is, I talk about why people should get it or maybe not get it, and then I talk about how this product works. And in those sections, I usually have three talking points that I hopefully try to remember, but generally speaking, that's what I do. Again, it may not work for you. You might wanna have like a full-on script to work off of. You might wanna use a teleprompter if that helps you out. Whatever it is, you gotta find some sort of way to communicate all the points you wanna talk about in your video. And for me, it's all about talking points. This is where having, this is where having something like this is so handy. I love these field notes. I bring them everywhere I go because if an idea pops up in my head, I can just simply write it down. Or if I go to a location and I'm like, oh wow, I should come back to this location because I could film some stuff here. I could write down any and all my thoughts in this notepad. These things are super cheap. They're small enough to carry anywhere. And so yeah, again, just write things down. Now, as you're creating content, you might be thinking, when is the optimal time that I should post my videos? Well, honestly, it kind of doesn't really matter. Like, you can go into your YouTube analytics and go to the audience section and see exactly what time your audience is most active, but because YouTube is a search platform, like your video, regardless of when you post it, will eventually grow. Like I made this video about iPhone accessories. It didn't do really well. Like here on the first day, it earned maybe like 1,500 views, but now it's grown to 329,000 views, and I've actually earned about $3,000 from that video. And I posted that video about 2-3 years ago, so I'm still making money from that video, which is crazy. So when you're posting your content online, don't worry about the initial views. Like in the first day, like really, that doesn't matter because it's going to grow. It may grow faster than others, might be slower than others, and that's totally okay, but you just gotta let the video grow and just trust the process. With all that said, you have to study your own analytics. Everyone is going to be different, and so you can't compare yourself to like Marquez or Casey Neistat. Look into your own analytics, see what kind of content your audience is viewing, see where they're viewing your content from. Just use the analytics section of YouTube to know your audience. And the more you know your audience, then the better you're going to serve them because you're gonna start creating content specifically for them. Like if you post a video and the click-through rate isn't really high, then maybe it's not a topic that you should be making videos about. But if you see that one of your videos has a high click-through rate and the watch time just grows like that, then that's probably a good indicator that you should make more videos just like that. Now, I'm not gonna go through the technical weeds through all of that because that is a rabbit hole in itself, but the point for all this is to study your own analytics so that you get to know your audience. And the last thing I wanna talk about is to practice. I know that's a very boring advice, but regardless of any profession, the more you practice, then the better you'll become at your job. Being a YouTuber is kind of like being a public speaker, and I know in public speaking classes they say practice in front of a mirror. Well, that kind of works, because the more you look at yourself, say certain things, and the more you'll be like, oh wow, I didn't know I did this when I said this word. It'll give you a chance to study how you behave in front of a camera. Or better yet, just go on a 10-minute rant nonstop, and regardless if you mess up or not, and just start talking in front of a camera, reviewing a fake product or vlogging about a certain thing, and then watch the playback of that video and make notes. And it might seem weird at first because you're studying yourself, but honestly, it's just simply practicing. And if you really want to become a successful YouTuber, if you want to make it as a solo creative entrepreneur, then you just have to practice. And with all that said, go ahead and practice. I wish I got this advice when I started out. I kind of had to just figure it out on my own. And so yeah, hopefully these tips are helpful to you. In fact, go ahead and try these tips. Let me know if they work for you or not. And also share your YouTube channel with me. I would love to check out the content that you're creating. And for me, as much as I love making videos about camera, tech, and traveling and vlogging and all that stuff, what I love even more is helping people get from where they are to where they're meant to be. And if you feel like you're meant to be a YouTuber, a content creator, then hey, I want to help you get there. And so we're gonna wrap this video. Thank you so much for watching. Again, links to all the products and services that I mentioned in this video are in the video description below. Thank you so much for watching. I am tired. I'm gonna go play some Call of Duty now. I'll talk about my YouTube studio soon.